Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS25 Highlands Fishing information video. In this video I'll show you the barns that come with the Highlands Fishing DLC. And yes, we got an abundance of buildings with this pack. And nobody spoke about it. I mean, from the Giants team or the marketing, nothing. Only the constructables, they have been shown in one blog article, but that we get a lot of barns was a complete surprise when we got the game. And there are also halls and farm buildings and decoration and a lot more stuff, productions that you can place. And I thought, okay, as I love buildings, I should be the one who show them to you. And there are too many to be shown in one video, and therefore I decided to make several buildings, and this video is about the barns. And yeah, you see that I already placed them. That is why it took me around 50 minutes for my German video to place all the barns and fill them up with straw and total mixed rations and buy some cows. And I thought 50 minutes is too much for just a few barns. So therefore I show them to you already placed, but we go into build mode and I show you where to find them and how much they cost, and then we go through them and to get an impression. Maybe first we go into build mode, then you can see the prices and such. Here you have an overview. There are 3 cow barns. So those 2 Hermann cow barns, completely modern and with very different concepts of how you want to keep your cows. Very, very different. And also different to the one that we already have. And then here we have a breeding barn that is good for beef cattle, Highland cattle and little milk cows. But you can't get milk from this. And this is in the local style, a little bit rundown. Then we have 2 new horse barns. Who would have guessed? Very interesting horse barns. From Hermann, as you can see. And we got one rather old-fashioned typical sheep barn. That is typical for small farmers that don't have their own meadows for the sheep, but have the sheep in little barns like that. Yeah, and we can find them here in the build menu. Here is the cow area. And yeah, I should tell you that you need the Highlands Fishing DLC to have those barns, and you can place them on the map Kinlake where we are now, and you can also place them on other maps if you activate the Highlands Fishing DLC as a mod. So this being said, I can show you the different barns. This is this first one here with a very open concept, very interesting, for 432,000 bucks, and you can have up to 86 cows. And this is just a little bit more expensive, 443,000 bucks, and also 86 cows. If you make a bigger meadow, what is possible for all the barns apart from the sheep barn, you can have more animals. So they come with a rather small outdoor area, but you can configure it. And here this is the second barn. And then we have the cheap barn, the old one, for 147,000 bucks and for 78 cows. So you can still have quite a lot of cows in this one. But as you can see, it's not at all fancy and therefore it's cheaper. Okay, and yeah, maybe we just go through them. Here we have the outdoor area. That is the minimal outdoor area. And yeah, you can make it much bigger. And the interesting things is that this here, where they lay down, is not in a big hall, but they have their little roofs that protect them from rain and snow and maybe too much sunlight, but it's completely open. And I heard that a big problem with cows is that they produce so much body heat that in summer it is too hot in their barns rather often. So the farmer has to take care that they have enough fresh air and cooling that they don't suffer in the summer. And maybe this barn is for areas where it's even hotter than in usual areas and where they have mild winters, because you need this expensive barn also for the winter. And maybe it would be perfect for Highland cattle because they have such long hair that they don't need a housing even in winter. They could stand on the meadow all year long. And so this would be an additional comfort for them. Yeah, that is what I think about this. I didn't check the website to find out why they made it like that, but it would seem logical for me. And we have something like a hallway where you go with your tractor to feed the cows. And this has a roof, so the food is protected from rain. Then here we have a rather small hall with the feeding robots and such. So I think if it becomes very cold in the winter, they can go here and crowd together and feel warm also. And this here is not used by cows in the game, but I guess in reality it's for cows that get new calves, pregnant cows, in their last stage of the pregnancy. That's what I would think, because in videos about cows and the cow barns that I visited, there were always an area where the highly pregnant cows had their own area to be separated from the other cows. Yeah, that's this cow barn. And then we have this other one, which is somewhat very interesting and a little bit mysterious in my opinion, but it makes sense. So here is the area where you drive with your tractor and bring the food. Here we have a separate area, a small one. I guess in reality that would be the area maybe for the calves or so. So where they are kept separate from the adult cows. That's how I saw it in real life barns, that they had a dedicated area for the calves. Yeah, and that here is the feeding area. And then what is mysterious for me, they can't go from here directly to their laying around area. This is separated by a wall. And I'm sure they have a reason for it. They didn't do this by chance. So, yeah, they must have thought something about it. It's like the dining room is separated from the bedroom also. And the cows, they have to go outside, and we will go do this walk and go outside around the barn to come into the bedroom. Very interesting. And here, close to the feeding area, we have the feeding robots. Oh, and you can configure the feeding, milking robots. We don't have a feeding robot here. Sorry, this is the milking robot. And you can configure it. And you can also have solar panels. And for this you can configure this green color. Yeah. Oh, and there we have another separated area. I guess this is the one either for the pregnant cows or for the very, very tiny calves, or maybe for the male cow, or for a cow or several cows that need separation. And we have a lot of small rooms for people, maybe the office or so. And now, if the cow wants to go from the feeding area to the laying around area, they have to leave the barn through here, go along here, even in winter, and here they can lay down. I would think a logical reason to do it like that would be to motivate the cows to go outside sometimes. So, yeah, that the farmer maybe thinks it's good that the cows use their outside area and go from here to here, that they maybe use the meadow. You could make this much bigger, but maybe there is a different reason for this separation of the bedroom and the feeding area. Very interesting. Maybe you know this. So now next, let's have a look at this cheaper barn. And this is not for milk cows, as I already said, but I want to say it often enough that everybody understands this. And yeah, you can have a big meadow here where your beef cattle can live just from the land. That is the most interesting aspects of beef cattle in FS25, in my opinion, and also for the Highland cattle, that if you have a large pasture and not so many cows, they can live from the meadow all year long, and they are completely happy. You don't need to feed them, and then you make some profit with them. If you always need to feed them, they are not really profitable. But if you can just, yes, I have my meadow, here is the barn, and you live here all year long, then you can earn some money with them. And I love to have them on top of that. And here, this straw comes when you deliver straw. So they have a cozy indoor area. And here the feeding is combined with the laying around area, and they don't have this separated bars for laying around. They have just this place where they can roam around and lay down wherever they want. And yeah, I don't really know how it is for the cows, whether they prefer those special lay down areas, but I could imagine as a human that this here is nice for a cow to live here. They can feed. The only disadvantage here would be, in reality, if that would be a real life barn, they poo on this straw, and then the whole straw transforms into manure sooner or later, and then the farmer has to come and remove the manure and give new straw. And so this nice clean straw will be dirty and ugly after a short period. Yeah, but then they can go and lay down outside. I guess they have a happy life here. Okay, now let's have a look at the horse barn. This is one very interesting horse barn. We have a training hall with all kinds of obstacles and such. And the horses can't come from their meadow to this training hall directly, because this is just a door for people. So the horses, they live outside on this rather small meadow that you can make bigger if you want. You can have up to 15 cows in this one. I guess when you make it bigger, it can be enhanced to 16 cows. Here you can bring the food for the horses. And if you want to use the training hall, you have to take your horse, sit down and ride along here to this one. So the concept is similar to the second Terman cow barn that we saw. And yeah, and here there is an area. Maybe you can have benches here for people to watch this wonderful horses riding around. And then we have a second horse barn. And when you see it, you think, oh, it's a nice home for the horses. But here, this is more a nice home for the tractors, which is useful. And then we have a whole area, no area for the horses, but for people, and maybe for all the stuff that you need for horses. And an office for the horse area leader and whatsoever, but nothing for horses here. This is still outside of the horse area. But here, this is a shed where the horses can stand. They don't have their own boxes. It's an open living area. So when the weather is bad or they need some shadow, they can go here. And other than that, they live here on their meadow. Yeah, and maybe the horses are happy. to live together in one shed and not have their own boxes. I don't know anything about having horses, and therefore I don't know this. I only saw all those horse barns with a lot of boxes. Every horse has its own box, but maybe that is out of fashion in the meantime. I could imagine that horses are more happy to live together and not be in their personal prison all the day. Yeah, maybe you know about having horses and can tell me about it. So, and the last one is the little sheep barn. And this is a sheep barn without any pasture. Here, you can see it's closed. And I heard that in Britain there are a lot of sheep farmers. They have their sheep in exactly very similar barns. And I watch videos from Sandy Brook is her name, in America. She has sheep herself in a much bigger barn, but the principle is similar to this, and they live indoor, those sheep. They don't have a pasture. So maybe this is one typical way how to have sheep. And yeah, in America and also in Britain. But when I have been in Britain, I drove from London to Birmingham last year. I saw a lot of huge meadows with sheep on it, so there is also a lot of outdoor keeping of sheep. And as far as I know, Britain became a big sheep keeping nation because in some areas the ground is not so good for other crops, so you can't grow wheat and such, and you can only have meadows there, and therefore it's good to have sheep there to make use of the land. And yeah, then the sheep have always been outside. So there seems to be two different ways to keep sheep, and maybe mixed ways also. I'm sure there are mixed ways. Maybe they come to their barn in winter and are outside in summer or whatsoever. And yeah, I would love this sheep barn if it would have an option for a pasture. Maybe one like that, to have this non-pasture sheep barn, and another one with an entrance and where you can build your pasture, that you can have a similar barn for free roaming sheep on pastures. Because having sheep and goats on pastures is very attractive in FS25. You can do it like with the beef cattle. You just have a very big meadow, and then they can live from this meadow all year long if you don't have too many of them. And then you collect the wool and the goat milk and have an easy living with your animals. Yeah, that's the last of the barns from the Highlands Fishing DLC. And yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring all the sheds and all the other buildings, because I think it's a really interesting part of this pack, and it is not mentioned often enough, in my opinion. Okay. Thank you for your support as a Ruby channel member. If you want to buy FS25 or a DLC, feel free to use my code OMATANA. You'll find the link for the PC version in the video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra and supports me a lot. Now I wish you a wonderful day, thank you for watching and all the best till next time. Tschüss!